No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a breaking news live stream. I am being joined by Matthew, who has been on the No DQ panel several times, doing predictions, No DQ review, so on and so forth. Matthew, how's it going? It's been a busy day in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, and we just got hit by another bit of news that I don't know if we'll talk about, but yeah, it's never good to hear about releases, even more so Rich right before a big pay-per-view. So yeah, it's something to talk about.
Yeah, so we will start with the news of several WWE departures, and then we'll give our revised final predictions for WWE Crown Jewel coming off of the taped episode of SmackDown and also coming off of some of the events of the week. But first, the departures from WWE chat room. Feel free to give your thoughts on the departures. Baron Corbin went on Twitter/X and wrote a post that felt like a goodbye to WWE. Baron Corbin joined WWE in 2012, and it was confirmed later that he is leaving the company. He reportedly will not have his contract renewed when it expires. And in addition to Corbin, it was also announced that Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell will also be leaving WWE, both of them confirming their departures on social media. Apparently, there's a 90-day period. Tegan Knox will be able to work somewhere else in 90 days. I believe the same thing applies to Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell had a match on the taped SmackDown, and interestingly enough, she did not take the fall in that match, which makes you wonder how far in advance this was planned to let her go. But we'll go ahead and give our thoughts on this. Psycho Jet Black, shout out to him, sent in a $5 super chat, says, do you think the reason Baron Corbin was booked so poorly was that Vince McMahon saw him as a joke and not a main event star? Was he wasted potential? So I will give my thoughts on that, and then I'll throw it over to you, Matthew. I think with Baron Corbin, he was a really good wrestler for his size. He was booked very poorly. I think we can all pretty much agree on that. I don't think Vince McMahon saw him as a joke. I think Vince probably thought this is main event material. This is how we make a main event superstar. Baron Corbin was a guy who could do whatever the boss wanted him to do. And unfortunately for him, that was maybe part of his downfall, was the fact that he would do some of these really bad gimmicks. But Vince McMahon probably thought, well, this guy is a team player. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out for him. Matthew, I'll throw it over to you. And thank you, Psycho Jet Black, for the super chat. Matthew, your thoughts on Baron Corbin's run in WWE, and were you surprised by the news of his departure?
I mean, I was very surprised. Corbin always felt like a company guy. He did everything, no matter how good or bad it was. He got blamed for the bad ratings of WWE, when they made him general manager. He had all these good and bad gimmicks. He was great as the Lone Wolf, not so good as Happy Corbin, was fantastic as Bum-Ass Corbin, which was his best gimmick. And then we saw him have this resurgence with Braun Breaker in NXT, and we all hoped, hey, hopefully this is the start of something new. And then they called Braun up, and then that was it. They put Corbin with Apollo Crews for 2 matches, and then that was it. And I really felt they either should have kept Corbin in NXT or kept him with Braun on the main roster. So yeah, it's a shock, but I think he's a good get for MLW, TNA, and maybe even if Tony's willing to shell out the money, he could be a good hand in AEW.
I was not really surprised by the news with Corbin. Yeah, you're right. If you're not going to use him in NXT, either do something with him or, in this case, just move on. And that appears to be what WWE is doing. I think that, unfortunately, he became damaged goods. I think the bad booking really hurt his ability to be able to rebound. He was starting to come around, but the trigger was never fully pulled on him. Like you said, I saw a comment on No DQ in the comment section. Somebody brought up like the idea that maybe he'll pull a Drew McIntyre, leave for a while, and then come back. The problem with that is he's 40 years old. When Drew McIntyre was released from WWE, he was, I believe, 29. That's a big difference. 10 years, a huge difference. I don't think WWE is going to invest in somebody who's 40 years old at this point. LA Knight was an exception. You know, he was 38, 39 when he started getting his push. But with Corbin, he's been around for so long. Would they bring him back 4 or 5 years from now? Probably not. I know there's some hope that maybe he'll get another run, but I feel like this is it for him. And I'm not the biggest Corbin fan for a number of reasons, but he was a really good wrestler, and I do think that he could have been utilized better on the main roster. Like the Lone Wolf gimmick was awesome. He had that music, and then you take everything that was cool about him away. You took away his music. You took away the persona that he had, and basically made him a joke. And I don't necessarily think that Vince McMahon was trying to sabotage him or anything. I just think that Vince had this vision, and Vince McMahon had a lot of visions that didn't pan out. So it is what it is. It sucks that his run is coming to an end, and what could have been, maybe he could have been a bigger star than he was. Who knows? We have a couple other people to talk about. Tegan Knox.
He also did have one thing though is he has still one of the most protected finishers in WWE history. Drew's the only person ever kicked out of the end of days. So, you know, that alone should have told you there should have been more to him, because even now, you know, only one person has ever kicked out of that finisher.
Right. But yeah, I would be surprised if he ends up in AEW. Like you said, maybe he'll go to MLW or even TNA. I could see him going into TNA for a bit. That might be a possibility. But yeah, I really don't expect I don't expect AEW to pick up any of these releases. And I'll tell you why. So we have Tegan Knox and Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell was entertaining. She was part of The Way. She never really had any momentum on the main roster, and she never got past that lower card level. And as far as Tegan Knox goes, like, there was a lot of potential with her, but her big problem was she was injury prone. She kept getting hurt, and it's hard as a company to invest in somebody who's always getting injured. They really could never get things going with her. And for the period that she was wrestling, the crowd just wasn't reacting to her. Very talented, but unfortunately she had things working against her. Maybe AEW would give her a shot, but again, you know, if she's injury prone, that's going to be tough for her moving forward. Maybe with a lighter schedule in AEW, she could make it work. Any thoughts on Indy and Tegan being gone?
I mean, I always enjoyed Indy. You know, Index was probably one of the best parts of, you know, NXT 2.0, you know, the Dexter Lumis, Indy Hartwell thing. It's sad that she became NXT Women's Champion and got injured. Never got to defend the belt, never really got a run. Didn't her and Candice have the tag belts for a short time? But yeah, she never really got off the ground. And it's kind of sad because I think she's a great talent. And it's even funnier because yesterday they did a great video. I guess she dressed up as Chelsea Green, and her and Chelsea were running around backstage mimicking each other. And it's like, there's stuff there that you could work with her. And then we find out that she's released, and then we watch her final match tonight. And it's like, that hurts because she doesn't even get a proper send off, because I'm sure the fans would have loved to have seen her, given her flowers. I could see her probably doing well in TNA. Tegan, like you said, Tegan is injury prone. And I worry that because there was a rumor that, of course, the moment releases are announced, people will start making fake, Sean Ross Sapp accounts and saying, oh, this person's released, this person's released. Somebody tried to say Dakota Kai was released. And I
Right.
worry that Dakota Kai could be on the chopping block because she kind of is injury prone too. And her and Tegan are close. But, if they could have gotten together, they could have been a good team.
Right.
But I'm kind of not surprised with Tegan. I just don't know where she would go because of her injuries. And, another person not listed that I'm kind of worried about is someone like Giovanni Vinci. He's had 2 matches, lost both, and then he's been off TV.
Right.
And he was, again, in a feud with Apollo Crews. And,
Apollo manages to survive.
Yeah, so it's like I'm worried there are gonna be more releases, and I think Giovanni could be one of them. And again, he's another guy that was really good in NXT. Was great that they put him back in Imperium, then they let him go, and that was it. But yeah, I'm not sure where Tegan will go, but I definitely could see Indy probably going to TNA. Maybe she could even do some stuff in Japan.
Yeah, I think that's a solid prediction. My guess is both are most likely to end up in TNA. And like you said, there will probably be more at some point. Apparently, these 3 are all for now, but I could definitely see more cuts coming and contracts not being renewed, especially with this new WWE ID program. Like they're really focusing on bringing in more new people. That's the future. They're looking at wrestlers from all over the place, and you can only have so many people on your roster. So ultimately, some people are going to end up on the chopping block and not have their contracts renewed. I mean, it's the way entertainment goes, the way sports go. People come and go, and best wishes to the 3 of them. Now, any final thoughts on that before we move on?
I mean, not really. Like you said, best wishes to them all. I hate seeing releases because, then it brings up certain comments in the, in chat rooms and, on, DQ, but, I just wish them all the best and hopefully they'll land on their feet and, maybe prove WWE and Triple H wrong and we could see them again. You never say never.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to move on now to Crown Jewel. We had the taped SmackDown air tonight, and I'm even more conflicted than I was when we did our predictions video last week, not knowing the outcomes of the final shows going into Crown Jewel. I really feel like I could flip a coin for almost every match. And I'm saying that as a positive, the fact that anything can happen. And by the way, Candice LeRae, I feel like she's safe because she's married to Johnny Gargano. I hate to say that. Candice is great. I used to watch her when I would attend PWG shows in Southern California. I think she's very underutilized, but I think her job is probably safe for now with Johnny Gargano keeping the family together. But some of the others, like you said, could be in trouble. But anyways, Crown Jewel, we got 7 matches, which is more than usual. We typically get 5 for these B pay-per-views in the Triple H era. Don't know if any of them are going to be on the pre-show / kickoff or not. But chat room, leave your predictions, your final predictions. You can throw in all the matches in one post. I'll put some of the responses up on the screen. I'm losing the no DQ predictions league. I really don't have a shot of winning it. We only have 2 shows left. So I'm going to take some risks here and maybe change a few of my predictions around. So first of all, the end of SmackDown, we saw the bad guys standing tall. Gunther choked out Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens hit Randy Orton with a steel chair. I originally was going with Kevin Owens to win, and I figured Kevin Owens would win, set him up for Cody Rhodes. But there was talk of that match being at Saturday night's main event, which means you need something for Survivor Series. So maybe Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, at Survivor Series rematch. I don't know though. I'm really torn on this one. I am going with my standard thought process, and that's whoever has the upper hand at the end loses at the pay-per-view. So I'm changing a prediction here. I think I might be changing too. I'm going to go with Randy Orton to win and beat Kevin Owens. Owens maybe wins a rematch at Survivor Series, something like that. They have a rematch. I have nothing to lose at this point, so I'm taking some chances. I'm going to say Randy Orton wins. I really don't know. And all this time I was going with Gunther. But now, after Cody Rhodes, the babyface, gets choked out there, Kevin Owens is preoccupied with Randy Orton. I feel like it's not a one-off, I feel like there's going to be more to that. So I'm going to say Cody Rhodes wins, and I wasn't going to go with that initially. Now that brings me to the other Crown Jewel Championship match, which I was going to go with Nia Jax to win. And even though Rhea Ripley is out of commission, which means it's less likely she's going to be there, I would say she's not going to be there now. They said she's not going to be at the Raw in Saudi Arabia, so she's not going to be getting involved at this point to cost Liv Morgan the match. I'm going with Liv Morgan, surprisingly. I was not going to pick Liv Morgan. I'm changing some of my picks here. This is crazy. I could be making a huge mistake here. I don't think we're going to have both Raw champions win or both SmackDown champions win. So I have to flip. I'm flipping. Nia Jax got the upper hand on SmackDown. I'm going with that thought process. I could be completely wrong here, and I should have not changed my picks, but I am. I'm going with Randy Orton. I'm going with Cody Rhodes, and I'm going with Nia Jax. Now, the remaining matches, I believe I picked Carmelo, and he's actually the betting odds underdog at this point. I'm sticking with that. I think LA Knight can lose the title without being pinned, and give Carmelo his first, I believe, his first singles championship on the main roster. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I'm sticking with that. I believe that was my original pick, and I am going to stick with that. And I could still see, I'm sticking with no cash in from Tiffany. I know we had talked about that. I'm sticking with that too. No cash in. It'll be teased, but no cash in. And then the women's title fatal four-way, I'm sticking with that. That one, to me, that's the one easy match, I think. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill win. Damage Control won on SmackDown. They're not winning. Don't see that happening. So yeah, sticking with that one. Rollins versus Reed. I believe I went with Reed, but after Raw,
you went with Rollins. Rollins after Raw.
Yeah, I'm going with Seth Rollins because he got laid out by Bronson Reed, which, by the way, if it was me, I'd have Bronson Reed win and let Rollins win a rematch. But the fact that that Rollins got laid out there, the DVD through that table on the outside parking lot area, I'm going with Seth Rollins to win. I disagree with that. I hope Reed wins. I think Reed needs the win more than Rollins does, but I'm going with Seth Rollins. And then the main event, like if it was me, if it was my call, I'd go with the New Bloodline to win, build heat on them. But everybody knows my saying, and every time I go against it, it bites me in the ass. It's hard to bet against Roman Reigns. I really think the Bloodline needs this win to give them heat for the Survivor Series War Games. But I can't do it. I cannot bet against Roman Reigns. I don't see him losing anytime soon. And, with that pop they got for doing the ones and their big reunion, I can't see them losing. Like, I can't do it. I have to go with Roman Reigns. I have to put the betting money on Roman Reigns, even though I disagree. I think the Bloodline should win. I'm going with Roman Reigns' team to win. And this will be the one time, maybe, I'm going to curse Roman Reigns by picking him here, and they'll go the opposite way. I'm going to say Roman Reigns' team wins. I don't know.
Well, I think even the betting odds right now have the New Bloodline winning.
As they should, but
yeah.
I just cannot bet against Roman Reigns. It bites me in the ass every single time I don't pick Roman Reigns. He ends up winning. So I can't do it. All right. Matthew, I'll throw it over to you now. Any revised picks or final thoughts for Crown Jewel? Go ahead.
I mean, I've kind of been like you. I'm torn on a lot of these matches. I think KO should win, but I could see
Yes.
Orton winning, and this sends KO into a frenzy, which leads to KO costing Cody the match against Gunther, which I think Gunther still should win that one. But yeah, I'm kind of torn. I want to say KO, but I think it could be Orton. And like you, I want Bronson Reed to win. He should win. If they want to really cement him in this feud, I felt that was part of the problem with the Braun Strowman match is he should have won that, but they had Seth interfere to lead into this match. But I think Bronson Reed needs to have this win. Yeah, Jade and Bianca are winning. I just hope Damage Control aren't the ones taking the pin, especially being that they just finally won a match clean. I think Nia's still going to win, but yeah, without Rhea in the mix, that is going to be interesting. There could be some sort of interference by Tiffany and Raquel, but I'm sticking with Nia on this one still. I want to say Carmelo, but somebody made a good point. This is LA Knight's first title defense at a pay-per-view. I just don't see him losing his first title defense at a pay-per-view. But this feud, no matter what, has to end at some point. So
right.
I'm a little torn on this one. I like you, I kind of want to go with Carmelo, but the fact that, LA Knight has never defended his title on a pay-per-view, I think it would hurt him to have him lose. So I'm going to go with LA Knight. And then yeah, the new bloodline has to win, but like you said, it's hard to go against Roman. But otherwise, what's the point of War Games? How do you build up War Games if Roman has now beaten the new bloodline in 2 pay-per-views in a row? Does the new bloodline win War Games? But then that kind of feels like really odd booking.
It does, yeah, unless The Rock gets involved somehow at the War Games match.
Yeah, which I could see that being how they do it, but it's like, I think it would be better if the new bloodline won this one, and then it puts into doubt who wins War Games. Yeah, so I'm kind of sticking with most of my original picks, but you brought up a lot of good points that, this is the first pay-per-view, I think, since some of the matches at Mania where we're like, we all don't really have a definitive, yeah, they're going to win. And that makes it good.
Yes. I mean, like I said, this is a positive. I'm not sure what's going to happen at Crown Jewel. And to me, that's definitely something that makes it more intriguing. I'm very much looking forward to the show. I mean, my excitement's probably like an 8 or a 9 for the show. Like this is going to be a very interesting premium live event. And, it's going to start shaping Survivor Series as well as shaping whatever WWE is building up for WrestleMania. So I'm very much interested in how this all plays out. And I think we've pretty much covered everything for Crown Jewel. Any final thoughts? SmackDown, I thought it was okay. Like, I'd probably go B-. I thought the Roman Reigns segment was the highlight of the show. Any thoughts on that taped SmackDown?
I mean, for a taped SmackDown, it was pretty good. It was nowhere near compared to, the previous week, having Motor City Machine Gun win 2 matches, win the tag titles, that was a big moment. Yeah, it was a decent B show. I was happy to see EO get a win because they've been losing and getting interference every time. But yeah, the highlight was the Roman segment, the Roman and the Uso segment.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we will go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you again, Matthew. Any final closing thoughts or message to everybody out there?
I mean, just, thanks again for, letting me join tonight. It was a little preempted, but it was kind of fun. Look forward to tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be nice to have an afternoon pay-per-view. Hopefully they don't go too long with 7 matches. They should be done by what? 4 o'clock, 5 at the
5.
latest.
Yeah.
But can't wait to see the recap and tomorrow and see how things go from there.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for live results coverage of Crown Jewel. And then after the show, probably around 5-ish, give or take 15, 20 minutes before or after. We'll see how it goes. I'll be on to give my thoughts on the show. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy Crown Jewel. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.